Hello and welcome to Stroke by Stroke. There's going to be background sound, I'm sure. You can probably hear my wind chimes in the background. We are having a windstorm. There were tornadoes in Indiana yesterday, at least one. And there was also one in Illinois, I think. And big storms. So you're gonna hear things in the background here. And I'm sure that Walter, my furnace, will make an appearance. So I'm going to do this image today, and this is a photo that I took in Morgan County, Indiana, just outside of Martinsville. I took this photo and then ran it through Be Funky to get this art type effect on it, and so I'm gonna put this on the side, the image, so that you can see, and we'll see if things go better today than they did yesterday. I had a not so great experience, but it turned out being just fine. There's Walter. Because I wasn't really being totally true to who I am as an artist in that image in the beginning, but then I was, and I was much happier, but it took me forever to do because I had so many different iterations, and I thought I was done, but then I realized I wasn't, you know. And part of art is figuring out your mistakes and going from there. Okay, so I am going to do an underpainting on this one. I didn't do that last time, and it showed. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that today, and I'm gonna use my White Nights granulating watercolors, and I'm just going to do some quick painting here real fast. So let's see here. Yeah. All right. I'll be covered in oil pastel, but at least it gives me a ground to start from. And I'm also planning on probably doing some sgraffito, and so when I scratch through, sometimes I don't necessarily want it to go to white, so it will have the underpainting to go to. And I do better when I just do suggestions from the reference picture instead of trying to replicate. You know, I can show you examples if you really care about things I have done that are very representational, but frankly that just bores me, and so I don't really want to do that anymore. And since it's my world, I get to choose. And I choose not to do that. And these are my core watercolors, QOR. Oh, and I wanted to share this. This was gifted to me, and it is awesome. It is a backwards coloring book. So it has the color and you draw what you see over that. So I think that's a fantastic thing. So on days I might be in too much pain to actually do a video or something, I might do this. So thank you, friend. I really do appreciate you, and oh, I am so blessed. I have amazing friends and so much love in my life, and that is everything, honestly. All right, and I am very much in love with just how the colors bled together, and that is absolutely beautiful to me. And I'm going to use some masking tape over the washi tape because I was trying to get it to stay down, and I actually cut it with my thumbnail here, so, oh, sorry, I hate that sound. Okay. There we go. I just want it to keep everything in place. You know, and I had a question in the comments last night. You know, why don't I use painter's tape? And to be honest with you, I may. I just have, whoops, I haven't used that before because I usually used watercolor blocks and didn't worry about taping anything. So this is kind of new. This cellulose paper, it's Canson XL 9x12, and it is cellulose paper. And I actually like it. It just is very different from like the 100% cotton that I usually use when I'm trying to do real artwork, as opposed to just painting. It is real artwork though, see? Did you see how I was putting it down? I didn't mean to do that. I think what I make is art. Whether it's quote unquote serious or not is irrelevant, honestly. Because every time I do art, I am looking for that emotional experience. And my aphasia might be up a little bit today as I go, because I didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night. Okay, now it is time for the oil pastels. So I am gonna start by just digging right in. And I am going to be I have a condition called APS, antiphospholipid antibody syndrome, and it is why I had a stroke. And so I am on a medication called warfarin, which basically it's not basically, it is a blood thinner. And so I have to go every 6 weeks to the hospital and have my blood tested for how well it clots. And I have a certain, what do you call it? Target amount that I am supposed to be within. And so far, so good, actually. And that's a really good thing, actually. So I am doing that later this afternoon, and then I am also having a mammogram. Yay! It's that time of the year, I guess. And I am also going to see if I can have my x-rays on my knees. I have both of my knees are prosthetic at this point, and I am having a little bit of trouble with one hurting. I think it's tendon, but I'm honestly not sure about that. So the doctor wanted to take a look. So that's where I am physically. And I know I share a lot more than a lot of other people might, and that is my choice, and I think it is completely up to whoever as to whether or not they want to disclose things. And I believe in sharing because one of my biggest things that I really want to do is to destigmatize mental health and disability and aging. And I'm a therapist, so I'm going to talk about it. So, and that is one of my major goals with Stroke by Stroke is, the main one is to help myself heal from my stroke. And then I also care a lot about those issues: domestic violence, mental health, disability, aging, the biggies, basically. So, and I am okay with using myself as the example for things. And am I saying that this is how everybody should do it? No, that is not at all what I'm saying. What I am saying is this is one way, and you are not alone. Because that's one of the biggest things with mental and physical health issues, is it is very easy to feel so alone. And you are not. So if you are somebody who follows me, or even don't, you just happen to see this video and there is a topic you would like me to bring up, or anything that, suggestions. I love getting suggestions for trying different things. Any topics. So yeah, I have a whole lot of things that are important to me, but I also want things to be important, that are important to you. If that's something you want me to talk about, I am happy to do so. All you have to do is let me know. And I am the kind of person, I don't shy away from a lot. It doesn't necessarily mean that, I'm going to talk about like my bowel habits or something, but maybe, who knows? Probably not though, because that's icky. Even I think that's icky. So, boy, I really love pastel or oil pastels. I love regular pastels too, and I do have quite a few. I have pan pastels, and I also have stick and pencil. So, you know, and I have so many supplies because I was going to be an art therapist for years and years, but the universe had a different plan than I did. And yeah, so, and boy, was that difficult to deal with. Okay. You know, another one of the topics that I will talk about is substance abuse, because I was a substance abuse therapist, and I myself am an alcoholic in recovery, and I am an ex-smoker. So yeah, I've done all the fun stuff, and it wasn't very fun, honestly. I was using substances to avoid thinking about things that were really difficult. And that's human nature to some extent, because we don't really like that kind of stuff. You know, the bad feelings and stuff. But, you know, sometimes it's just, it is what it is. And I have been working on my own mental health long enough now that I have a whole bunch of coping skills set up, and resources, and I am able to sit in my discomfort in some extent. I do have PTSD. I have complex PTSD. And sometimes it's fun. Yeah, that's one way of putting it, I guess. So yeah, we're all dealing with our own struggles. And a lot of times those are invisible struggles. So I'm here to let you know it's okay to have those struggles. It's okay to not be okay. There's a reason there's a book called that. And it's all within your comfort zone, honestly, as to what you want to deal with and what you want to talk about. And you don't have to talk about anything you don't want to talk about. All right. Now, let's go to white. And with oil pastels, I generally go backwards from what I do with watercolor, meaning I put the darks in first and then I add the lights in afterwards. And in watercolor, trying to do that can make mud. I know this for a fact. I used to not be able to do watercolor at all. And my best friend actually taught me how to do watercolor. And then I kind of ran with it on my own. But the thing that changed for me was when she just said, and I don't know why this didn't occur to me before she said it, but it's really just painting with water and letting the water do what it wants to do. And it's like, duh. Yeah. And working with it as opposed to trying to control it too much. And so, yeah, that was absolutely life-changing. So, and she knows who she is, and I know she watches these. So, honey, I love you, and you have changed my life in so many ways. So, thank you. See, when I'm doing these pictures, these images, when I add the white, to me, that's when it all comes to life. And that the Sennelier white is like butter. It is just glorious to work with. And so this is my favorite part of the entire process, is bringing it all together with the white. And that dance of my fingers with the pastel is just, honestly, doesn't get any better than that to me. And it goes pretty quickly, actually. The white, and I'm getting here toward the end of a stick. In fact, this And remember, this is intended to be like an abstract, so, you know, I don't want to do too much fine detail here. I really want the motion more than anything. Motion and color. Boy, that wind is crazy today. And being in a trailer, I get to hear it all. This is just a silicone shaper, so, because I want to get slightly finer detail than I get with my fingers. And it's doing a little bit of a sgraffito effect, which is scratching. So, yeah, this is the last part to do. And it cuts through all of that undercolor that I had created with both the watercolor underpainting And then all of the different layers of oil pastel here too. So it just kind of comes to life when this part happens. And I am simplifying this even more than the reference photo. And now I'm going to use one of these, which is even more sgraffito. And oil pastel is a very messy medium. And so if being dirty is something that bothers you, then this is not the medium for you necessarily, because it might make you very, very uncomfortable. And one of the rules of doing what makes you happy is figuring out what your comfort zone is. And pushing on your comfort zone a little bit is okay. It's, if I remember correctly, I think it's called Johari's window. And basically that is the window of tolerance. So that means whatever you can handle before having an issue is your window of tolerance, and working to what do you say, make that window of tolerance just a little bit bigger is one of the ways that over time you are able to deal with more stuff, you know, before you get overwhelmed. And trauma actually really messes with the window of tolerance for folks. So, you know, if you have trauma that involves things that are slick, things that are dirty, whatever that means for you, then this is possibly going to be triggering for you to try. Especially if you're trying to do all that by yourself. Once again, I'm going to say definitely get a therapist. I can't stress that enough. And if cost is an issue, there are places that will do a sliding fee, or you know, different programs. So if you need to see a therapist, reach out. There are more resources than you might actually realize. All right, so here we go. This is, I'm going to call this a finished piece, and I thank you for joining me and for listening to me prattle on. As always, do what makes you happy and work on what you might be able to do to get that window of tolerance just a little bit bigger for yourself so you can deal with more stuff. You know, try something new. All right. Do what makes you happy. This has been Stroke by Stroke. and have a beautiful rest of your day.